Nothing in life is to be feared. It is only to be understood. These are the words of Marie Curie, the lady who opened the door to nuclear energy. The energy source that is actually net zero and the key solution to phase out fossil fuels. But somehow, people still fear nuclear energy because they often confuse it with a nuclear bomb. Now, Oliver Stone is a three-time Oscar-winning director, and he actually made a documentary about nuclear energy. And he's here today in European Parliament to discuss that in order to strive for net zero by 2050, we need to move on and start accepting nuclear energy as an energy source. Oliver Stone, could I ask you a question?
Which is?
When do you think people will finally jump off the bridge and accepting that nuclear energy is needed?
Hopefully tomorrow.
With us today is Gunnar Beck. He is the Vice President of ID and representing Germany in the AFT. Gunnar, Oliver Stone made some allegations towards Germany as they closed down all the nuclear plants. And he said, what's wrong with Germany? So what do you think of that? What's wrong with Germany?
Yes, I was much amused by that. It's true. And the answer to his question is practically everything. If you look at most of the problems we're facing in Europe now, most of them are self-made. If we're looking at energy policy, there's the hysteria about climate change. I think it's hysteria. Oliver Stone isn't quite of that view. We are closer on nuclear energy, which he thinks is the answer to climate change. I think it's the right policy in any event, whatever's happening with the climate. And of course, if you look at those two hysterias, the hysterical fear of climate change and the hysterical opposition to nuclear energy, both are fears, hysterias that have their origin, that either have their origin in Germany or are most widespread in Germany. And indeed, many of the worst ideas of recent decades are particularly popular in Germany.
So how do you think Germany can overcome this hysteria?
That's very difficult. Of course, ultimately, it's inseparably connected with German history and the Second World War. So there's the guilt element. I think Germany ultimately has to develop a settled sense of national identity, self-worth, as well as a sound self-critical attitude. I think that's an important element. Beyond that, I think a key event has been the 1960s revolution, which is linked, I think, to Germany's historical sense of guilt. I think that's had particularly devastating consequences in Germany, socially, educationally, and politically. In some sense, Germany has to be normalized. I think that's really what has to happen. And it's got to master its neurotic fears, because these are influencing the whole of Europe.
Do you think the next elections it will change?
I don't think that Germany will cure itself. I think that would happen as a result of wider European phenomena, and what's happening at EU level, perhaps with the next European elections, could have an effect. I think Germany has to return to logical, science-based, empirical thinking. Presently, it's swept away by ideological obsessions, which in turn had their origin, at least in part, in a deeply troubled sense of national identity. And the danger is, of course, it's a great danger for Germany herself. The great danger is that Germany will tear down most of Europe with herself.
I think it's a very clear last message. Germany needs to make sense again and get back to the logic.
Yes, I think Mr. Stone was spot on in that regard.
Well, thank you very much.